Niti Namine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Jayapataka Swami Niti Namine. Nama Acharya Padaya Nitai Kripa Pradayane Gaura Katha Dhamadaya Nagara Grama Tarine. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. We'd like to welcome all of our YouTube Live listeners, our listeners over Facebook Live, and our listeners over Zoom. We'd like to welcome all of you to this day 3 of the Japa Workshop session. We'd like to thank our quiz participants from yesterday's quiz session. We'd like to thank Hari Prasad Prabhu, Nutan Purohit Mataji, Rishikesh Purohit, the son of Nutan Purohit Mataji, and Anjali Agarwalji. Congratulations to all of you, and we encourage all of you to kindly participate in the quiz session. So this will help us in better understanding ourselves and also revising whatever we have heard in the sessions. It will help us retain what we have learned. So we encourage all of you to kindly participate in the quiz sessions. Can we have the slideshow, please? Today, we continue the third day of our Japa workshop. We will be discussing Japa affirmations 3 and 4 out of the 20 affirmations. Then we would discuss today the third stage of sadhana bhakti, which is Bhajana Kriya. Can we have the slideshow? Yes, thank you. And then different kinds of Bhajana Kriya, Nishthita Bhajana Kriya and Anishtita Bhajana Kriya. Then we discuss on the third offense to the holy names. Then we will discuss, well, what happens if we commit offenses? What are the unfavorable results? Of course, there are no favorable results from offenses. Don't criticize devotees. How to avoid inattention while chanting. And then we'll have a practical exercise where we can state our determination. So next slide, please. Today, we will discuss in the next slide Japa affirmations 3rd and 4th. There are 20 Japa affirmations which actually help us in overcoming our offenses and stating what we want to do. Offenses state what we should not do, and that's very important. If before chanting we also state what are we trying to do, that helps us tremendously in focusing on the japa. It helps the mind. So the third affirmation is, when I chant, I only chant and do nothing else. This means that when we chant, our whole world should be put on hold. Just like when we wake up in the morning, it should be just about us and Krishna and nothing else. Can we see the third Japa workshop 3, day 3, please? Okay. So it should just be about us and Krishna and nothing else. And it means when I chant, I chant. I only chant. Means not only creating the external space, but more importantly, creating the internal environment in which we don't allow ourselves to be distracted.
Because when we are chanting, we should actually, when we sit for chanting, in our mind, we should enter into our own bhajan kutir in the heart. And that bhajan kutir has nothing else. The mind also is not allowed inside. In fact, one time Srila Prabhupada was asked, Prabhupada, how do I control my mind while chanting? Srila Prabhupada said, well, you chant, you hear. Where is the question of the mind? And sometimes it may be very perplexing. What does Srila Prabhupada mean by that? Where is the question of the mind? All we are trying to do is control the mind. But Prabhupada is saying, neglect the mind. There is no mind. The mind is sleeping, intelligence is sleeping. It's just you and Krishna. That's all. It's the soul and Krishna connection. So when I chant, I only chant, do nothing else. It's as if my life does not exist. Just like when we in the mornings when we wake up, all the lights are off. Outside, if we see, all the lights are off. Everything is dark. So similarly, when we wake up for chanting, everything in our life, the lights are off. We should understand that the lights of our life are off. The problems, the happiness, the distress of our lives, it's just off. Switch off the lights on that. Nothing exists. It's just us and the holy name. This is very important. When I chant, I only chant. The fourth affirmation.
That is, I get to chant, I want to chant, and I love to chant. Now, if you notice that all of these statements are in the present continuous tense, that we are already doing this. Like Srila Prabhupada said, that if we are not feeling enthusiastic, act enthusiastic. That's not being, something artificial, but by acting in that way, one day we will be able to actually be able to realize and act also on the enthusiastic level, on the platform of enthusiasm. So therefore these statements, these affirmations, if you notice, are also in the present continuous tense, that I am experiencing this, I get to chant, I want to chant, and I love to chant. Because when we begin our chanting in the morning, every day in the morning, a fear may subtly speak to us by saying that, oh, this is going to be difficult. This is going to be very boring. Look, the cozy, comfortable bed is calling us. Why do you want to leave? You had a very busy day yesterday. You deserve some more rest. We'll get all these thoughts. It's not going to be a sweet experience. Don't go for chanting. Don't do this. We may fear that we may not be able to control our mind, and our japa may be a struggle. We feel this every single day. But if our chanting has not consistently been good, it's not like in the previous experience, if it has always been a struggle, and if we have gone through some low points in our life, or low points in our chanting also for some time, then at these times, these thoughts will definitely haunt us. So actually, deep down, we should affirm ourselves. We want to chant. We know that we actually want to chant, and we should ask ourselves, what would our life be without chanting? Our answer would be horrible, that our life would be really terrible. So we have to be conscious and realize this deep down, that we want to chant, and our soul actually wants to chant in order for us to be happy. Many devotees, they have told us that just saying these affirmations before, beginning to chant, in fact, even for both of us, we've been reciting these affirmations almost every day for the past year and a half now. So we are seeing a positive effect upon our, because it's tremendously positive effect that it has on our chanting. So repeating these things again and again in the present continuous tense does have an effect on the mind. Next slide, please.
So, yesterday and day before, we discussed about the first two stages of sadhana bhakti. When we start chanting, we are in Shraddha stage. Then, as we continue to chant, we get into the association of devotees, sadhu sangha. And in their association, we conduct Bhajana Kriya, which is the third stage. Shraddha means to have a genuine desire to undertake the activities. This is the first stage. Then we take the shelter of the devotees, the faithful beginner, the Shraddhavan. In bhakti, inquires from the devotees about proper conduct. Then, by following these scriptural injunctions, that person mixes with the devotees in friendship and finds shelter in the association of more realized devotees. And this is the second stage of life, which is devotional life, which is sadhu sangha. And then we take up the practice of different types of service. This is called Bhajana Kriya, or execution of devotional activities. Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th canto, chapter 5, text 23, Shri Prahlad Maharaj says, Shri Prahlad Vacha, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, Smaranam Padasevanam, Archanam Vandanam Dasyam, Sakyam Atmanivedanam. Prahlad Maharaj said, hearing and chanting about the transcendental holy name, form, qualities, paraphernalia, and pastimes of the Lord Vishnu, remembering them, serving the lotus feet of the Lord, offering the Lord respectful worship with 16 types of paraphernalia, offering prayers to the Lord, becoming his servant, considering the Lord one's best friend, and surrendering everything to him. In other words, serving him with body, mind, and words. These 9 processes are accepted as pure devotional service. Next slide, please.
So now let's understand what are these 9 processes of devotional service, which is the important essential part of Bhajana Kriya. Next slide, please. So the first process is hearing, Shravanam. So we can see how important Shravanam is, to simply listen. And the one who perfected his life just through the process of hearing, through Shravanam, is Parikshit Maharaj, the one who is sitting below. And the one who perfected his life through Kirtanam, through chanting the names and the glories of the Lord, is Shukadev Goswami, who is instructing 7 days, 7 nights. Both of them, one was reciting, the other was listening. So Shravanam, Kirtanam. These are the first 2 processes of devotional service. Next slide, please.
The third process is remembrance. Just like Prahlad Maharaj, he perfected his life simply by smarana, by remembering Lord Vishnu as he was going through different struggles. He did not pray for any protection. He was just remembering Krishna, and that power of remembrance protected him. Next slide, please.
The fourth one is Lakshmi Devi, who perfects her life. She is perfecting her life, continuous tense, by serving the Lord's lotus feet. She is eternally performing this service of rendering Pada Sevanam to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Sri Vishnu. Next slide, please. Then comes deity worship. Who exemplified deity worship, who perfected his life through the process of deity worship, is Maharaj Prithu. Prithu Maharaj, he taught the world how to perform deity worship to Krishna. So this is Vandanam, Archanam. This is Archanam, which is deity worship. Next slide, please.
And the next is Vandanam, which means offering prayers. Akrura is the one who perfected his life by offering prayers to Krishna when he was taking Krishna Balaram from Vrindavan to Mathura. At that time, when he went to take bath under the waters of Jamuna, he actually had the darshan of the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he prayed with such humility that it pleased Krishna.
Very good. So that's Akrura in Vandanam. Next slide, please. Then we have Dasyam, or servitude, being exemplified by the great devotee Hanumanji. Hanuman is the perfect servitor of the Supreme Lord Sri Ramachandra. Jai Bajrangbali Sri Hanuman ki Jai. Next slide, please. And in friendship, we have Arjuna, who exemplified and he perfected his life as the best friend of Krishna. So therefore, Krishna actually acknowledges this in the Bhagavad Gita by saying, because my dear Arjuna, because you are not only my devotee, but you are also my dear friend. Bhakto sime sakha cheti. You are not only my greatest devotee, but you are my greatest friend too. So favorable relationship with Krishna was that these were the two reasons that Krishna gave, that why Krishna is imparting the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna, because he's Bhakto Sime Sakha Cheti. He's a friend and a devotee of Krishna. That's Arjuna. Next slide, please.
Then finally, Atma Nikshepa, which means to completely surrender. Atma Samarpana. Bali Maharaj, when Vamandev asked Bali Maharaj, I have taken everything with my 2 steps. Where do I put my 3rd step? Bali Maharaj, without any hesitation, just offered his head. Please, my Lord, I myself would like to surrender to you. Imagine, in just a moment, he was stripped off of all of his opulences, all of his powers. It was like he was fired immediately. A moment ago, he was the king of the 3 worlds. And just the next moment, in 2 steps, everything was taken away. Can we go back to the slideshow, please? And here we can understand how Bali Maharaj, this is the power of surrender. He did not retaliate. Oh, you cheated me. He could have said that. I cannot give you anything. But this is the surrender of Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj perfected his life by Atma Samarpana, offering his body, mind, and words in the service of the Lord. Next slide, please. And how the Lord awarded him so much wonderful benedictions after that. And finally, all the 9 processes of devotional service. We saw how each devotee achieved perfection simply by performing one of these activities, one of these 9. Ambarish Maharaj performed all the 9 activities of devotional service and achieved perfection. Shri Ambarish Maharaj ki jai.
Next slide, please. So now we come to the 2 divisions of Bhajana Kriya, the practice of devotional service, which is called as Nishthita, or steady devotional service, and Anishtita, or unsteady devotional service.
Steady devotional service, which is Nishthita, takes us to the next stage, which is the 4th stage, that is Anartha Nivritti, which is the removal of the unwanted elements from our devotional life. But Anishtita Bhajana Kriya, unsteady performance of devotional service, is characterized in 6 types. Each one says how unsteadiness is there in devotional service, and we all go through this phase. We cannot come to Nishthita Bhajana Kriya without successfully overcoming all the 6 types of Anishtita Bhajana Kriya. And this is the time that we fall. As you can see, this man, so unsteady, and sometimes he falls, but he gets up again and continues performing Bhajana Kriya. Then he may fall on another side, but again he gets up until he becomes like a rock and comes to Nishthita, steady Bhajana Kriya. Next slide, please. So what are the different kinds of Anishtita Bhajana Kriya? Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that when we are chanting and performing this Bhajana Kriya, we will come to a stage called Utsahamayi, which means false confidence. Just like when a student is entering the school, he may think, oh, I'm already a great scholar because I got admission in a school, everyone should praise me. And therefore, similarly, a person who has just entered devotional service, he can display the audacity. Oh, I've mastered everything. This is called Utsahamai, which means puffed up over enthusiasm. And the second type of unsteady devotional service is Ghanatarala, which means sporadic endeavor. The student may be diligently engaged in his studies, but still, at other times, he's not able to understand the subject matter, or he doesn't have proper taste in studying, and other times he becomes totally negligent. Similarly, a very new devotee who has just started Bhajan Kriya, sometimes he practices the different activities of devotional service very nicely, and then sometimes he neglects them. Then sometimes he's negligent. This kind of sporadic behavior of the graph going up, down, that's Ghanatarala. Do you remember or recall anyone in this particular stage? You don't have to answer that. We can answer ourselves. Next slide,
Because we
please.
go through this. Sometimes we are over enthusiastic, sometimes we are so dull, and sometimes it's different, sometimes it's all different. So we all go through this. There is nothing to be ashamed of. These are all milestones that we are actually, if you're experiencing this, it is good. This is meaning that we are making advancement. So please let us not get discouraged by any of this that is maybe happening in our lives. But let us take this as milestones so that we know that, yes, we have to keep moving forward. We have to keep moving forward.
So this is called Ghana Taral. Ghana means condensed, and Tarala means diluted. Ghana means thick, Tarala means thin. Sometimes our devotional service is thick, sometimes thin, but we continue. We identify this, but we continue. Next slide, please.
Next one is called as Vyudha Vikalpa, confusion. Yes, no, maybe. Which side should I go? What should I do? Oh, should I be a householder? Maybe, maybe I can, have a very nice home. I can have, very nice programs in that home. But what if I get attached? What am I going to do? Oh, okay. How about if I get a very nice job? No, 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 no. If I earn too much money, I might get into Maya. Oh no, what am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? This kind of confusion, which is always there in our life, always, allowing us to choose different options. When one speculates on all types of options in devotional service without being able to decide anything, it is called as Vyudha Vikalpa. And that is the time that we need the guidance of advanced devotees who can weigh out our options. And they will not tell us, yes, you go this way, or yes, you go that way, but they will give us based on their experience. They will share with us so that we will be able to make the right decision. That is how we get out of Vyudha Vikalpa, which is indecision. Next slide, please.
Then we come to the next stage, which is Vishaya Sangara, which is we are struggling with Maya. We know that, well, I'm not able to, I'm trying so hard and I'm not able to be steady in serving Krishna, and I'm being attached to material enjoyments. So then we resolve, I'll renounce all these addictions. But when we try to renounce, we may renounce maybe for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 1 hour, and suddenly we think, oh, it's too long. I've renounced so long, for so long. It's been an hour. I've not even thought about anything. And then this whole wave comes back, and we may end up again indulging in it. And so this ongoing battle between our previous desires for sense pleasure, in which sometimes we are victorious, but just because we are victorious now does not mean we will be victorious next time. So sometimes we are defeated. This is called Vishaya Sangara, which means war with sense pleasure. Vishaya is sense pleasure. Sangram, Sangara is war.
So as you can see in the left side picture, that the man is sitting there thinking that no, 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 I will not go into any kind of sense pleasure, but the sense of the nose is coming and pulling, the eyes are coming and pulling, the sense of touch is coming and pulling, the ears are listening to music, the tongue wants to taste different things. This is how we are constantly struggling with all of our desires. So this is the struggle with Maya that goes on, which is called as Vishaya Sangara. Next slide, please.
The next is Niyamakshama. This is one of the unsteady devotional service, Anishtita Bhajana Kriya, where we are unable to uphold our vows. We want to, and no, I will not fall down, not fall down. But we still perform activities that will eventually lead us to fall down. As we can see here, this person is saying, no, I will not, I will not, I will not, but he's cutting the branch on which he's sitting. So in this way, that also happens. And we should understand, we should take it in stride. This will happen, but we should not be discouraged. We should use them as stepping stones and continue our devotional service in spite any fall down or any niyamakshama. Sometimes we may resolve, I'll chant so many rounds of japa, I'll pay so many obeisances, I'll render services to devotees, I will not talk anything except the Lord, and I will give up the association of people, worldly talks. Every day we may, but that we may not be able to execute them. Next slide, please. So Vishaya Sangara, which we saw previously, is the inability to give up material activities. But Niyamakshama is inability to improve devotional activities. These are two different challenges that we face.
So now we come to the last one, which is called the Taranga Rangini, which means enjoying the waves. Well, you see, it is well established that people become very attracted to a person who possesses bhakti, because bhakti is all auspicious. And as the popular saying goes, by attracting the populace, one becomes very wealthy. But bhakti produces a lot of opportunity for material gain, for material worship, for material position. And these are actually weeds, because name, fame, profit, adoration, these are anarthas, these are unnecessary, unwanted things in our devotional life. But this is the reason why it is called the last stage of the Anishtita Bhakti, is because if we are able to cross this stage, that when we are wanting that, yes, people should understand my greatness. Oh, you don't understand how great I am? You better understand. Look, I will show you. I will not speak how great I am, because that is against my devotional teachings, but I will show you by my activities. Look how great I am, what a wonderful devotee I am. Glorify me, and you better understand my glories, and then if you understand it, then you will receive blessings from Krishna. This is the kind of mentality that rules in this particular stage, where we are looking for name, fame, worship, adoration, distinction. We are looking for all of this. We want that people should glorify us. We want that people should tell all good things about us. Why? Because that is an anartha. That is, Jaya Jaya Prabhu, Jaya Jaya Prabhu. We want people to glorify us in this way. And when we don't get that, we get very angry. Oh, this person doesn't know how great I am. Oh, shit, go from here. You don't understand my glories only. That's not the way. But if we are able to cross this level, if we can give up, we can totally give up the desire for name, fame, profit, adoration, and distinction, then we immediately are moved to the next stage of devotional service. So this is the last one, which is Taranga Rangini. Next slide, please.
So let's try to see. We have been focusing on japa affirmations, on offenses, but there are 32 ways to not chant japa. Let's look at the first 4 of them. One of the japas is like a to-do list japa. Have you ever experienced when we are meditating on our to-do shopping list? Sometimes we are chanting Hare Krishna with adding things to our items to our japa list,
like this,
by going towards the right.
Oh, yeah, maida, check. Atta, check. Aloo, oh, I don't have potatoes at home. Yeah, check. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. No, by the way, moong dal, that is there at home. Okay, minus that, remove that from the list. This is how we do our to-do list japa. So we should not chant this
Or
way.
sometimes we may balance our checkbook mentally going over the bills. And ultimately, what are we doing? This is causing us to lament how many bills I have to pay. So instead of chanting, "Oh Lord, please engage me in your service," this to-do list japa makes us pray, "Oh Lord, please add a few more zeros to my bank balance, end of my bank balance." So we should avoid this to-do list japa. This is like distraction to chanting the holy names.
Next kind of japa that we must not do is I hate him or I hate her kind of japa. We are chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Hey, that person, how could he be so mean to me? I just hate that person. Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna. This person, she told me this yesterday night. How did she tell? She doesn't know my glories. How could she talk to me like this? I hate her. I hate her from the bottom of my heart. Krishna, you make note of this, okay? I hate this person. I hate this person. Rama Rama Hare Hare Rama Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. By the end of the time, what are we doing? We are not having any kind of pure prema bhakti. Rather, we have developed excellent plans to take revenge and strategize our revenge on particular devotees or particular people. So that is a I hate him or I hate her kind of japa, which is not going to take us anywhere. We must avoid that.
Another kind of japa is I am right japa, because we are chanting how I am right and that person was wrong. And every mantra we become more convinced. Yeah. I mean, how could he say that? I am right. How could they say that I'm wrong? That person is actually wrong. And then it becomes a pump your ego japa. This I am right japa is also known as pump your ego japa. Like when you see, when you fill up helium or when you are pumping balloon, air into a balloon, you're doing pumping, right? The balloon is inflating. So this I am right japa keeps inflating our ego. All it needs, Krishna will nicely come. He'll bring a nice little needle and he'll go pook, and that entire patash, it'll, nicely it'll just get so blown up. So this I am right japa is a terrible, terrible, gutter to be in. Let us not be in that horrible condition where we are thinking that I am right and everybody else is wrong. Then we go watering the weeds japa, where we are chanting so poorly that at the end of japa, we feel disgusted. We feel depressed. Oh my God, I really chanted so bad. And we feel miserable. Prabhupada said, chant and be happy. But if we chant this watering the weeds japa, we become chant and be miserable. So we should avoid these different kinds of japa. Every day we will discuss 4 kinds of japa that we should avoid.
We will. Next slide, please. So now we come to discussing that what is the third offense? We discussed the first 2. So the third offense is disobeying the orders of the spiritual master. This is the third offense and a very, very, very important nama aparad, offense to the holy name. That it is because of the mercy of the spiritual master that the living entity, after cycling through millions and millions of lifetimes, they get the seed of Krishna in their heart by the mercy of the spiritual master. The spiritual master are of three kinds. We have, the Vatma Pradarshaka Guru, who is, showing us the path to devotional service. Then there are Shiksha Gurus. There can be many, many Shiksha Gurus. And then we have our initiating Guru, who is our initiating spiritual master. Next slide, please. So disobeying the orders of the spiritual master is, why does this offense come? Because we see the Guru with mundane eyes. We forget that, we sing every day in the morning for Mangalarti, we sing, Sakshad Hari Tvena Samasta Shastre, that the Guru is Sakshad Hari. He is non-different from Krishna. But yet we make the blunder of seeing the Guru with mundane vision. That is why we commit this third offense. And what is the rectification for that? That we must concentrate and listen to lectures and instructions by our Guru. We must, constantly beg for the mercy coming down from the spiritual master. And we must, with great enthusiasm, we must follow the instructions given by our spiritual master. Sometimes we feel that, oh, we are so much physically separated from our Guru. How can we serve him? How can we, render devotional service to him? But the connection with the Guru is very special. It is heart-to-heart connection. And when we follow the instructions of the Guru, we are connected with the Guru. This is how Srila Prabhupada taught us. So Srila Prabhupada, when he was in 1965, when he was roaming the streets of New York, he writes in his diary that I never felt alone. Prabhupada was alone, but he never felt alone. Why? Because he constantly felt that his spiritual master is always by his side. Why? Because Srila Prabhupada was following the instructions of his Guru Maharaj. He never felt alone. So Srila Prabhupada has taught us by his own example that how we can, follow the instructions of the Guru with great enthusiasm, and thus we can establish our deep, relationship with our Gurus in this way. Next slide, please.
So when we perform these offenses, what happens? It's not just that we perform the offense and then we don't get love of God. That's true, but there are so many other things that happen. We develop crookedness, which means we develop this thing to perform devotional service to gain something else other than Krishna's pleasure. We are performing devotional service. So the meaning of performing devotional service is to please Krishna. But instead of pleasing Krishna, we have some other agenda. I want some name and fame also. I want some material benefits, some money also. I want some donations also. So many different things. That's crookedness. That comes. Why? That if these thoughts are coming in our mind while chanting, while performing devotional service, that means we have committed some offense because of which these things, tendencies are coming up. Because we have committed offense, attachments may come, which destroys faith in the Lord. Faithlessness will come. Why faithlessness? Because we are committing offenses. Or we may become slackened in devotional service, slackness. As soon as this comes, we should understand, oh, I must be committing offenses. I need to go to the root of this and make sure that I don't commit offenses and chant attentively. Or we may become proud of our own spiritual advancements. And as pride comes before a fall.
Very well.
Next slide, please.
So in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srila Prabhupada, he says in the Antya Leela, in chapter 20, in text 16, he says, my Lord, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, in your holy name, there is all good fortune for the living entity. And therefore you have many names such as Krishna, Govinda, by which you expand yourself. You have invested all your potencies in these names, my Lord, and there are no hard and fast rules for remembering them. My dear Krishna, although you bestow such mercy upon the fallen conditioned souls by teaching them your holy names. I am so unfortunate that I commit offenses while chanting the holy name, and therefore I do not achieve attachment for chanting the holy names. So this is our condition. So therefore, we must try to avoid the offenses to the holy name so that we can develop attachment to chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
So what can we do if we have committed offenses? Next slide. How to go to the root of the offenses and uproot them so that we don't develop these tendencies that we just saw. First is don't criticize devotees, because criticism of devotees is born because we think we are better than someone else. It's born out of pride, and then it inflames envy. Instead of glorifying devotees, instead of being happy that some other devotee has received mercy, we become envious. Why that devotee got so much mercy from this Maharaj or that Maharaj, or why is he being glorified so much? I should be glorified. I know how that devotee is. That devotee is not good. We start discrediting that devotee by giving all sorts of offenses towards that person. And then we just oftentimes our conversations are like during casual conversation, we don't even think what we are saying. But every time we express envy or malice towards a devotee, Shreya Kairava Chandrika, the white lotus that had started blossoming, starts to contract. The lotus starts closing up. All of our good fortune, Shreya, becomes Shreyas. It comes down. So if we want to chant purely and we do not want all these attachments cropping up and slackness in our devotional service and crookedness and pride, we must go to the roots of not committing the offenses, avoid all sorts of sadhu ninda. And in fact, Lord Chaitanya instructed Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, Gramya kathana shunibe kane. Do not talk and gossip like people in general or hear unnecessary talk from others.
Very well. The second thing that needs to be done to avoid this is, first is don't criticize. Second is, next slide please, avoid inattentive, being inattentive while our chanting. Avoid inattention while chanting. Read, as you can see in the pictures here, reading the newspaper while we are chanting, watching TV while we are chanting, eating something while we are chanting, talking to someone else while we are chanting, being on our phones while we are chanting. We must understand that when we are chanting, we are actually talking with Krishna. We are having a conversation with Krishna. If we are asking, we are talking to Krishna, that Krishna, please engage me in your devotional service, and then we suddenly just start talking to someone else, how offended will Krishna feel? That, oh, this person is, not giving any kind of respect at all. If we are, while we are talking to someone else, if we are listening to others also, if we are doing other things, how will that person feel? We must think that Krishna has given us appointment to meet him personally. These 2 hours that we have during our chanting, this is our appointment, our personal appointment with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And how seriously we must take this. This is something that we must think about.
Next slide, please. So let's do a practical exercise, which means today's tip is state your determination before chanting. Because yesterday we saw, give the mind a simple task. Just chant this one mantra, one holy name. That's all your task is. But this works only in conjunction with determination. Because to direct the mind, we need to form a sankalpa, a statement of fixed determination or purpose. Because the mind will always tell us, well, We have something more important to do than chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. What is this? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare. You're just sitting here and wasting your time. You could have made so much money in this 2 hours. But we have to be determined to disregard the mind and focus on the mantra. In fact, we have found unless we form a sankalpa, a determined vow, we generally will every day, not just once in a lifetime, every day in the morning, we state our determination, state our sankalpa. Unless we do that, we will not have the ability to listen carefully to the mantra. We have to understand the task and we have to be determined to execute it. So we should state that determination. What is that determination? All I have to do is listen to one Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That's it. We should state that before we start chanting. Nothing more, nothing less. Then this sankalpa will help us. And it's very easy. It can be stated very quickly, very subtly. It can touch our thinking as lightly, like as a gentle breeze. We don't have to ponder upon it, but that is like the gentle breeze which is driving our japa. And then there is no need to stop in between to again reaffirm or something. You just have to be conscious before we become Krishna conscious. Chanting japa is not an invitation to the mind to wander, but it's the time to develop personal relationship with Krishna. And what have we accomplished when we have chanted one mantra? If we can chant one mantra, full mantra with determined attention, that's the success of our life. When we do that, we have allowed our consciousness to touch Krishna's transcendental holy name. Just by focusing on one mantra, we have bathed our consciousness in the sweetness of Krishna. This is the result of listening to one mantra in a determined way. And it is this result, this experience, which will actually give us the strength to continue so that we can relive the same experience for the next mantra, and then the next mantra. And then when we have this experience for the entire japa time, next day we'll be more eager. Our mind will not be fearful. Oh, yesterday was really miserable. I have to go through it again. Fine, I'll do it. Somehow or other, I'll do it. No. If we have a wonderful experience, then the mind will be eager to do it again. So just state your determination. Allow your mind to at least touch the mantra, one Maha Mantra. Then you'll see how it springs up. And if the effect of chanting and listening to one mantra is so incredible, imagine how it'll be to hear many such Maha Mantras. So listening to our chanting is the beginning of offenseless chanting. If we want to chant without offenses, it means to chant with attention. And this offenseless chanting will allow us to experience the full effect of chanting the holy names. So one time there was a frog. This frog was Can we have the next slide, please?
Yes.
So can we end the slideshow, please? Here. So there was this frog, and like we said, the frog was going with 2-3 other frogs, and very nicely they were going. But some of the frogs, they went ahead, and these 2-3 frogs, these 2 frogs, they were left behind. And as they were jumping, they fell into a well. These 2 frogs, they just stayed there in the well. And all the other frogs, they saw behind, their 2 frogs are not there. What to do? What happened? What? And so went behind, they saw that there was a well. They looked inside the well, and there were the 2 frogs. And this well was really, really deep. And the frogs, they were like, oh my God, how will you come out? How will you come out? How will you come out? They were doing like this with their hands, and they were saying, I don't know. Just, there's no point. And these frogs were trying to jump. And one of the frogs, he stopped jumping, listening to the discouragement from the other frogs saying, there's no point, stop jumping, you will never, you're only losing your energy, don't do this, don't do this. So one frog stopped, but the other frog, the more they were saying, don't do this, the more this frog was jumping and then jumping. And they said, no, you're losing your energy, you'll get tired, whatever little life is left, that also will go away. And the more they were saying like this, the more he was jumping. And then this frog jumped one more time, and boom, he was out of the well. And then all the frogs were amazed. What? He did the impossible. How is this possible? How did he do it? And so they started like making all the actions. How did you do it? How did you do it? And this frog who jumped out of the well started saying, ah, meaning this frog was actually deaf. He was hard of hearing. And when his friends were actually telling him that, stop it, there is no point, he was thinking by their actions that they are encouraging him. Come back, come out. Yes, very good, very good. That's the story that he was telling in his mind. And that encouraged him, and he was jumping higher and higher and higher, and he came out. So what does this tell us? It is not what others tell about us. It is not what Maya is telling us. It is about what story we are telling ourselves. Just like this frog. What is he telling about himself? He's saying, wow, my friends, they're encouraging me. They were actually discouraging him. But he took that as an encouragement, and that increased his determination. And then he jumped out. So we will be told by Maya so many times, look, by our mind, yesterday was a miserable experience. You're attending this Japa workshop. There is no use. See, today also same chanting. 2 days you attend Japa workshop. What is the use? Don't attend. No problem. No need. No. There will be no improvement. This is all just humbug. Mind will tell like this. Slowly, steadily, we will believe if we listen to the mind. We have to tell a different story to ourselves. Any little improvement that you see, we have to encourage ourselves. Look at this. I was able to hear one holy name. The mind will say, oh, out of all these 16 rounds, you only heard one holy name. What is the use? But we should say, I heard one holy name at least. Wow, this is a time for celebration. And we should encourage ourselves. We should be grateful. I don't even deserve to hear any holy name. One holy name, that is so, so wonderful. Tomorrow, I will try to hear 2 holy names. And rather than comparing ourselves with others, we compare ourselves with our previous self. Yesterday, how was my chanting? Is my chanting better today? Even marginally. And then encourage ourselves. That will give us determination. Focus on one mantra. Focus on one holy name. That's a simple task with determination, and success will be ours. Krishna will definitely help those who help themselves. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
So as practical exercise today, the tips that we learned, that state our determination and tell our mind that just listen to one mantra only. Let us now chant 27 times the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and let's try to put into application the main important things that we learned as tips. Let's not try to do to-do list chanting. Let's not try to do I hate him, I hate her kind of chanting. Let's not try to do those kinds of chanting which we heard about today. Let's try to just hear attentively one mantra. Be here now. When I chant, I chant. That is the affirmation that we heard today. And that when I get to chant, I love to chant and I want to chant. So with these things, let us, chant 27 times the Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
And if the best way to remember these instructions, these tips, is to actually apply them. So let us apply these tips. Let us, before we chant, let us enter into a sacred space within our hearts. Let us contemplate that we are actually entering into a bhajan kutir, and my life is on hold. It's on pause button. It's still sleeping. All my problems are sleeping. All my happiness, all my responsibilities are sleeping. They will wake up one time after my japa is over. Right now, there is nothing except me and Krishna. With this, let us try to focus on just one mantra, one holy name, when we are chanting these 27 times. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Srila Gurudev ki
Jai. Hare Krishna. So we can open, we'll just announce the quiz and then we will open the lines.
First, what are the third and fourth japa affirmations? Second, what are the 9 processes of devotional service?
Third, what does Bhajana Kriya mean and name the different types? Fourth, what are different types of Anishtita Bhajana Kriya?
Fifth, name some of the different ways we should not do our japa. Sixth, Name the third offense to avoid while chanting our japa.
7th, who are the 3 spiritual masters? 8th, what are the different ways to uproot these offenses?
9th, what's the tip to state our determination before chanting?
Haribo. Thank you so much for these beautiful questions. We can open up the lines. Shama.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam Mataji and Prabhuji.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much, Mataji. I just want to let you know that because of this Japa session, I increased my rounds from 16 minimum to like 20, Mataji.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Thank you
That's
so
so
much, Mataji.
nice.
It is
That's
really
so
helping me, Mataji, practically.
Jai, Jai. So happy to
So,
hear this, Shama. Thank you for sharing with us.
yeah,
Thank you.
it's all because of you and Prabhuji, Mataji. This is really helping me a lot.
Haribo, Haribo.
And Mataji, I have a question regarding today's class, Mataji.
Yes.
So we are discussing about the 9 processes of devotional service,
Mm-hmm.
and we have like Vandanam, offering prayers. Then the devotee is Akrura.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question because like Kunti Maharani, Bhishma, they also have glorified Krishna, and they also know that he is the supreme personality of Godhead. Then why Akrura is given as example of offering prayers Vandanam? And we see more devotees, not only them, Mataji, but especially why he is mentioned.
Well, in that sense, there are many friends of Krishna also who are so
Mhm.
glorious, like Sridham, Sudam, Madhumangala, Stoka Krishna, all
Yeah,
these boyfriends of Krishna, they are also so glorious.
But
yeah,
here,
Uddhava is also right, Mataji. Uddhava,
But
Siri, Uddhava Gita
yes,
also.
yes,
Yeah, so then there are so many devotees. Then
yes,
why especially Akrura's name is mentioned as the topmost in the offering prayers, Mataji?
sure.
it is not necessarily topmost, but what it says is he achieved perfection simply by praying. He did not do any other, kinds of devotional services. He just by praying properly, he achieved perfection. Now, other devotees, they prayed, and their prayers are also very nice. Their prayers have pleased Krishna, but they may have achieved perfection by other means, other devotional services, or a combination of multiple devotional services. Just like Maharaj Parikshit, he achieved perfection by what? Only hearing. He did not do any other devotional service in that sense. Just by hearing, he achieved perfection. So, this is not an example of one who offered the best prayers, although Akrura's prayers very much pleased the Lord with so much humility, but that just by praying, he achieved perfection. Prahlad Maharaj, he did not perform any other kind of devotional service in that sense, uh, to but just by remembering Krishna, that's all he did. He achieved perfection. Nrsingadev came just because of his remembrance. So this is the example of devotees who have achieved perfection simply by doing that one devotional service. And Ambarish Maharaj has done all 9 processes of devotional service uh, to the highest degree, like that. Brahma has
Yeah,
prayed so nicely, as you rightly said, Kunti Maharani. Does that address your question?
yeah, yeah, yes, Prabhuji, yes, Prabhuji, absolutely. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Now I
Thank
got
you.
clarification. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Shama. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Benita?
Garima.
Oh, Garima. Yes, beta.
Hare Krishna Mataji Prabhuji. Then with Pranam, all glories to Shri Prabhupada and Gurudev. I like the class a lot because it was I don't really know how to chant. I just mumble all the time. Yes. Nah, so now I'm learning how to chant, and today I was just beating my mind. You tell intelligence, don't plan anything. Just shut.
Oh, oh. We are so proud of you, bacha. We are proud of you. So nice.
Yeah, so now I'm learning how to chant and I can chant more better, not mumbling. So
Oh,
I really love all these japa sessions. I just can't wait for all these japa sessions. Like, I can't even wait for 1 second.
oh,
Haribol.
thank you very much. This encourages us so much. You know that? It encourages us so much. So thank you, Bacha. Thank you.
I have one question, that why do we chant in front of Tulsi Devi?
Very good question. Who is Tulsi Devi? You tell me. She
A
is?
great devotee.
Very good. And when we are chanting in the association of devotees, what happens?
Uh,
Krishna is more pleased more sooner. Correct? What
yes.
happened when Indra, when he offended Krishna? Who did he take shelter of to come to Krishna? Mother Surati. Correct? So we
Yes.
have offended Krishna so much. We have forgotten Krishna so much and we have left him. So therefore we need to take shelter of Tulsi Maharani. That's Tulsi Maharani, you are so dear to Krishna. You are Tulasi Krishna Prayasi. So you can, recommend us to Krishna, please. That's why we chant in front of Tulasi Devi.
Also,
Okay.
also it is said that Tulasi is the carrier of Krishna's mercy. Just like when there is a sweet aroma, when there is sweet, very nice fragrance, how does it come to our nose?
It comes in the air like.
Yes, it
Yes.
comes through the air. So air is the carrier of that fragrance. Similarly, Krishna's mercy, if it has to come to us, Tulasi Maharani is the carrier of that mercy.
Vrinda Devi.
Vrinda Devi. So that's why we chant in front of Tulasi Maharani, so that the mercy can come to us quickly, since she's the carrier.
Yes, I understand.
Thank you,
Did-
Veda. Beautiful question.
I did 2 months ago this Radharani.
Oh, how cute.
I do
So
it all by
cute.
myself.
Thank you, Veda. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you.
Mataji, Prabhuji, just 1 second. He just want to tell something. He been asking.
Yes.
Their father was the entire world did not to him out. He's saying, do you know that this frog was stuck in the well and Krishna came to pick him out?
Yes, yes, yes.
So Krishna then some water.
So
Krishna's friends drank some water.
he's actually mixing up with Niraga's story,
Oh,
the lizard story and the frog story.
yes,
He just
yes,
saw
we
the
thought
frog.
so.
And the story was amazing.
Oh, we are so happy you liked the story. Thank you.
Hey, Rama, Krishna, and Krishna tell boo and Krishna Yambe, he orders to dance Saturnight, the older demon hat. He's saying, is Krishna blue and black?
No, he's saying Ram and Krishna both are blue, and Krishna carries Sudarshan Chakra. So Ram also carries Sudarshan Chakra and cut all the demons' body.
Ramachandra, he carries bow and arrow. And Ramachandra is the color of parrot green, like green color.
Yeah,
No,
Krishna cuts it. Okay, okay, Mataji, I'll keep talking.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Krishna. Thank you,
Thank
Garima.
you.
Haribol. Benita?
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Haribol.
Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji. Thank you for such wonderful and insightful sessions. And Prabhuji, I would like to specially mention when yesterday you talked about the intelligence, I could so much relate to it, and I felt you said that thing only for me. because I used to always get this eureka thoughts when I used to be chanting. And and believe me, I used to feel my intelligence works the best when I'm chanting. And I used to really feel good about it. But now I know that it's really been tricking me for years now. And I know now I have to ignore that thoughts, especially the intelligence thoughts that I get while chanting. And Prabhuji, really, you have showed us how to enjoy the process of chanting. All the time I used to be focused on the output of completing the rounds, and now because of this attentive chanting I can actually feel it more enjoyable, and it's becoming a little effortless because the fact that we are enjoying it, we are attentive towards the sound. And I know I still have a very long way to go, but yes, I can see a slightest of improvement in my chanting, and I really feel good about it. And I really have this good feeling the entire day when I come. And this, it's just been 2-3 days, but I really feel a little improvement in the chanting, Prabhuji. And all the credit goes to you all
Very
completely.
good.
And Prabhuji, I feel, Prabhuji and Mataji, I feel why this is so effective, like why we are able to implement this is because you all are living by every word that you all are preaching. And that is why we are able to implement it. And that is why it is so effective in our lives. And you have showed us how to be more conscious, more mindful about our chanting, and just not take it as a task to complete. And I'm really so grateful to you all, and I really don't have words to express my gratitude.
Thank you. Thank you. You're right. We are doing this actually when we are speaking all of these things. We are speaking for us. We are speaking so that at least we can hear. Others are hearing, not hearing. At least we are hearing, and we are telling our mind, do this. And so it's actually we are preaching to ourselves. And if it is helping you, we are very, very grateful
No, Prabhuji, you
to
all are just not
your service.
preaching, but you all are practicing every word that you all are preaching, and that is why it is so effective. That is what I wanted to
We're
say.
trying to repeat, what we have heard from, senior devotees and reading from Srila Prabhupada's books. So we're just trying to repeat, and we are just begging that one day we'll be able to practice it too.
Prabhuji, like I was really disastrous. I think my chanting was really hopeless. And now I can realize, like, yes, I have a ray of hope now, definitely by the end of the 10 sessions. And I'm pretty positive about it. And especially also the affirmations, Prabhuji. Like, I never thought, I have read a lot about the power of affirmations, and I have even read many success stories about big professionals, applying this affirmations. But I never thought, I mean, this idea never came to me, okay, why not japa affirmations?
Right.
So yes, it's really wonderful idea, Prabhuji and Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. Japa affirmations. This is by His Grace Mahatma Prabhu. And you can see he has many lectures on Japa Workshop and like that. So we found it very useful ourselves. One of our friends, actually Kalasudha's childhood friends, gave us the book of Mahatma Prabhu on these Japa affirmations, and they help us so much. We thought we should also share this. So all glories to Mahatma Prabhu for these Japa affirmations, and whatever we have learned because of that, we are trying to share this.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you, Vinita. Thank you so much. Hari Bol. Rajeshwari.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Prabhuji, Dandavat pranams. Mataji, the session is really very nice. I have not attended any Java session along with the practical workshop. I have not attended any Java session like this. And I have one question regarding this inability to uphold vows. I'm just stuck in this. Sometimes, like I just have like I should not mingle with my friends, like as they some material talks will be there, or they'll be calling out to go out. So sometimes I can't avoid them also, but how can I convey them, or how I can go about it?
See, sometimes when we are in our work life, sometimes, like in your situation, when you're there, certain things cannot be avoided, but if our japa, if our sadhana is extremely strong, then you know how the silkworm is very, very strong in the cocoon inside the shell, then that way our consciousness will also be protected if our sadhana is very strong. If our japa time is very, very strong, then you know we can do a little bit, you know, go out over there with our friends also, so that we don't, something which is needed, you know, in today's day and age, especially when we need to work, and you know, when we need to go out into the world, basically we need to do that in order to survive. But then how to survive that? That is by the strength of our sadhana, that you know will protect our consciousness like that silkworm inside, safe inside that cocoon, you know. So it all boils down to how good our sadhana is, how strong our sadhana is, which will protect us when we go out into unfavorable territory, you know. And then when we come back from that unfavorable territory also, we, you know, we don't feel disturbed at all, because our consciousness is not touched by that external, you know, things that we have been through. It doesn't affect us so much. It all boils down to our sadhana.
Okay, okay. Okay, Mataji. Thank you very much. Thank you so
Thank you,
much,
Raji.
Prabhuji.
Thank you. Wonderful question. Wonderful question.
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Vrinda Gopika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Because of my heart medicine, Mataji, that is totally excuse. But I accept it, Mataji. That I get up by 5 o'clock or 5:10 or 5:15. But after hearing from last 3 days your session, this is the first session of Japa, Mataji. I just follow how you are given a example of 27 time Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and Mataji, it's work, Mataji. It's really work. And now get up 4 o'clock, and after taking bath 4:30 or 4, sometimes 4:45, sit for japa up to. And Srila Gurudev also I informed that not complete our japa in 1.5 hours, but at least it should be 2 hours. And Mataji, I seen a different. Before that also by the mercy of Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, realize half of the lecture. But now 80-85% lecture I memorize and give a summary to that preacher. So this is the power in a Brahma Murata. We do a japa. For that I have to go to bed by 10 o'clock, Mataji. But thank you, Mataji. Thanks is a very small words, but koti koti dandavat pranam, and blessing come from our heart. And your sadhana, your reading, your hearing, that is too much, Mataji. So sincerely, if the preacher sadhana is so strong, then only it's effect to us, Mataji. There is no words to your sincere seva. Jai Jai Nityananda, Jai Jai Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki Jai. I know it's late, but very small question. माताजी, मटेरियल पर्सन का तो स्वभाव होता है, जैसे बिच्छू का स्वभाव है कि वो डंक देते, बट व्हेन द spiritual, when the devotee, in that senior devotee we will help them in a difficult time, big amount, and they are not returning, they are criticizing, that time it is too much pain, Mataji. Please forgive me, but I get my answer, but still I want right answer from you.
That is true, because it does hurt, you know, when from devotees, when we receive any kind of indifferent behavior, it does hurt us. There is no doubt about it. But then if we can share our heart with another devotee, you know, whom we can have faith in, but not, you know, we are not saying this in a mood of criticizing that other devotee, but just, you know, sharing our heart with that other devotee, and having confidence that that other devotee will not, you know, spread it around. Neither will we go and spread around and talk bad about the devotee, of course. But just opening our heart to one devotee really helps us, because that devotee will be able to give us what we really need to hear. That how, you know, based on what your experience has been, after listening to the experience, once you share it, then they will be able to guide, and how to accept that mercy at that, you know, for that given condition that you are going through, that can be given by a devotee only. that how to accept this mercy, because it is coming from Krishna. This mercy is coming from Krishna, there is no doubt about it. But how to accept this mercy? That is the challenge. And a devotee, a senior devotee, whom we can have faith in and reveal it to them, they can help us. So please
Yes,
try.
Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Behalf of all Vaishnava. Not only what I feeling, but all Vaishnava. One day Supriya Mataji said, Mataji, same feeling with me. So all Vaishnava are feeling, but some are not explained, Mataji. Hari Hari Gauranga.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you very much. Shampriya Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
So wonderful to see you again.
Oh, thank you, Mataji.
Hari
Thank
Bol.
you, Hari Bol. It is so melodious to hear you both speaking. I just like how all the Matajis are expressing. There's no words to express. Mataji is so nice. And like the whole day, I'm just thinking when it's going to be 8:30 and I'm going to join the class. So I'm very thankful for you. But I had a question, Mataji, that how you were explaining that while chanting, we should not look at the phone, we should not look the newspaper or something like that. Usually, what I do while chanting, if my mind goes somewhere, I look at like Mayapur Darshan on the computer or something like regarding to Krishna, all deities Darshan or something. So is that okay? Like when I look at the darshan, I see, oh, see Krishna's flute is so nice, like his charan darshan or something. So is that okay, Mataji?
According to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, we should only focus on hearing the holy name. And if we want to see something, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur had a like a wooden pad on which Hare Krishna Mahamantra was engraved. And if you go to Surabhi Kunj, where his house is, you will see there was his japa room, which was very small. Like it was, if you go in, as soon as you go in, it, as soon as it starts, it ends also. It's right there, like maybe just enough place to sit. And he would sit there, and on his altar would only be that board with a Hare Krishna Mahamantra written. And when he recommends in his Harinam Chintamani that when we chant, if we want to look at something, let's look at the words of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that way, we will completely be focused on the Mahamantra, understanding that that sound vibration is Krishna himself. That is the Kali Yuga in Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. That Nam has come as Krishna Avatar. If while chanting, as we are chanting, if the holy name reveals us the form of the Lord or the form of the or the qualities and pastimes, that is okay. But if we artificially try to meditate, then even though we are meditating on Krishna's flute or Krishna's form, if that meditation on Krishna's flute and deity form is helping us hear the holy name, then that's good. But if it is not helping us hear the holy name is going in the background, and we are actually consciously focusing on even the form of the Lord, that is kind of a distraction. Not that the Lord form is a distraction because when we artificially meditate, say, on the lotus feet of the Lord, so nice. His dhoti is so nice. Oh, what about my dhoti? I have to wash my dhoti. I had washed my dhoti there. Oh, that's where it went. And because our consciousness may not be pure, then the meditation on the form of the Lord artificially automatically comes onto, transforms into our meditation on ourselves in some personal thing or something of that sort, because we have still not purified our selfish mentality. So therefore, it's just recommended just holy name. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Namaiva Kevalam. We can definitely meditate on the deity form of the Lord, but after our chanting is over. That is best. Except if you feel that meditating on the deity form of the Lord helps you hear attentively, then that's okay.
But at the same time, when we are opening up Mayapur.com or Mayapur TV, then there may be Darshanarti going on, or Mangalarti going on, Sandhyarti going on. These things are going on. We are listening to that. Kipa Jaya Jaya Gora Chander. All that's going on, and then we are chanting also. So that's not correct. Because when we are chanting, are we listening to the holy name? That's the most essential part. So, that should be, what we should be doing as a priority. Hope that answers your question, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji, thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhuji. It really answered the question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very nice question.
And Mataji, sorry, but the 10 offenses that are there. So if we make, I did not understand how Prabhuji was explaining the 10 offenses. If we make any of one of those offenses, then how do we uska pashyatap kaise karte hai?
How do we counteract? How do we do that? Well, each of the offenses, we are having the counteraction, we are discussing it on every day. The rectification, we are discussing it every day. Like the first one, today we did the third one. So if you just see the PPTs of the first day, the second day, you will get the rectifications that are there for each day's offense, one offense. We are discussing the rectification also.
And the root cause. Like for today, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. What's the root cause? Because we are considering him as a mundane person. And how to rectify? There are 3 ways that we can rectify. We can start to follow the instructions, focus, read about his instructions rather than his personality in that sense. And we focus on the instructions, the Vani of the spiritual master, that will counteract this particular offense, rectify it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Anjali?
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri
Hare
Radhe.
Krishna.
I would just say, now I know why I didn't go to Jaipur, because Krishna wanted me to improve my chanting, and he wanted me to do this workshop along with you. He didn't wanted me to just see it on the videos and just do it, because it's so much more affected when I'm doing it live, and then I'm getting so much of this. Actually, I just wanted to ask you, when you said that you don't do it while watching TV, this not the job, but we can say the mantra like Hare Krishna. I keep on saying this entire day. I don't know, is it
That's
right or
fine.
not?
That's fine. When we are doing other activities, if we are chanting at that time, not when we are doing our prescribed number of rounds. When we are doing other activities, we can keep chanting. That is the objective of our chanting. That, even when we are cooking, when we are in the restroom, when we are taking bath, when we are doing this, when we are doing that, we need to chant.
Which means that, for example, if someone is chanting 4 rounds of japa every day, they're saying we'll chant 4 rounds. Then during those 4 rounds of japa, we should not do all these other activities. Extra rounds while doing other activities, we can chant those rounds, but we should not count them as one of the 4 rounds of the japa. That's what this is. So there should be some time, or if someone is saying we will chant 16 rounds, then we should not be like doing something else and saying, okay, while I'm doing that, my japa, I'll count it as my 16 rounds. But once we have completed our 16 rounds properly, 16 good rounds, Srila Prabhupada says, good rounds. Then after that, when we are doing other services, we are continuing, keeping on chanting. That is good.
Okay, understood. And then the one more was like I do it in my puja room, because I feel that with in front of my Lord. Though now you have taught me since yesterday, now hearing it in all the correct method, but still today also morning I did in my puja room. And so is it fine over there, or should we
Yes,
change the place?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Because my Tulsi Maharani is also there.
Absolutely, you can chant. And as Prabhu said, if you can just take a printout on a piece of paper also, and just frame the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the entire one, if you just put that also on your altar, that's also going to be very good for chanting.
Okay, fine.
So
Sure.
that way you're seeing the Mahamantra while you're chanting.
And when we chant Hare, we are looking at Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna. So our meditation on hearing also
Increases a lot.
Yes.
Okay.
It's so beautiful, Actually, I think so. Now we are just learning. I'm learning for the first time the correct way. Thank you so much for that. And this we are supposed to say every mala those three those three affirmations you had given us.
Yes.
Every round when we start.
No,
not the affirmations, just the mantra that I recorded and sent you, Prabhupada's pranam mantra, Panchatattva pranam mantra.
Yeah,
That should be chanted every month, every round.
Yeah,
affirmation should be affirmations.
No, sorry, not affirmations, the mantras.
Yeah, mantras you just chant every round is best.
Every round.
Yes,
And
before starting every round.
I remember that the last class or a few days back, you had said that we should not cross that is Krishna bead. We should not cross it, and we should go again round,
to and fro. To and fro. Yes, we should never
I'm
cross
practicing
the
that
Krishna bead.
only.
Yes.
Yeah. So we just say that thing and then again go the
Go
other
back.
way.
Yes.
Go back.
Yeah, but we always go in forward motion. So we'll show you tomorrow how a practical experience of chanting that also. We will show you that tomorrow.
Practical that thing, because
On the
I was
beat.
doing once you had told us that with Krishna beat just do one dancing Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare and then still Hare Ram.
Yes.
So after that I am doing that only.
Yes.
And
so we
so
will be sharing those practical tips while we are chanting also. We'll share all of that.
One Prabhupada disciple shared with us that Srila Prabhupada told him to chant like this: Hare Krishna, Krishna,
yeah,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So there's a switch and the mind comes back.
Yes, since then, since you have told me that, you shared, I have practicing that. So I was just, so you will
we
do
will
it
be
again.
sharing that in either tomorrow's session or day after tomorrow's session, the practical aspect of chanting on our beats. We will be sharing all of that.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dee. Thank you.
Really helping us a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We have one over chat from Swarupa Krishna Prabhu. While listening to chanting of spiritual master or Srila Prabhupada, while ourselves chanting is helpful, definitely. Yes. We must chant. Actually, it is recommended to chant along with Srila Prabhupada or to chant along with our spiritual masters chanting, that at least even if our chanting, if we are missing to hear, we are hearing to their chanting. So yes, it is definitely good to do that. Next we have Nandini Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Prabhuji, Dandavad Pranams Mataji.
Dandavad Pranams.
Mataji, from today's class, I was able to locate myself where I am in the bhakti process, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Also,
Thank you.
Also,
Yes.
I was falling down from my japa, Mataji. I was skipping japas rounds due to lack of time. But today, from today's class, I am able to elevate myself to do more rounds, Mataji.
Haribo, Haribo.
Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji.
That's so fantastic. That really inspires us, that encourages us. So thank you for sharing that. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Prabhuji. That is only by Krishna's mercy I am able to attend this japa session.
Yes, very nice, Mataji. So happy.
Thank you, Mataji. I wanted this. Really, I wanted such a session, Mataji.
If you are feeling that this workshops are helping you, we pray to all of you to please pray for us so we can also implement these things in our japa and also improve the quality of our japa for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada and Guru and Krishna.
Haribol, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Nandini Mataji. Shamala?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, and those pranam.
Thank
you so much, Mataji, for the wonderful session every day, such a nectar. And every day sessions and so many learnings. It is very, very helpful. And today, frog story, I really like frog story. That's how our mind picks, and the intelligence part also I like a lot. Like sometimes I was thinking, Mataji, I have this question that intelligence, like whenever we chant, so our mind will so many thoughts I was thinking, but after the class I understand it's not actually the mind, it is actually intelligence. So, but sometimes like when I have so much confusion in something, and when I chant, I feel like it's a solution. Okay, so Krishna is giving me solution like this. So if that understanding is correct, or it's a trick.
Your voice is breaking up a little bit.
Is there a way that you can, because sometimes you were speaking very fast, we were missing what you were saying.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it audible now?
Yeah, now is much better. So sorry. Can you repeat it?
Yeah, Mataji, sorry. Actually, when I'm chanting, so suppose if I am in some confusion, like to decide something, so at that time, like when I chant, I get my solution. So this is the right thing to do. So at that time, like I'm not sure, like it also might it is a trick from the mind. So I think that okay, maybe Krishna is giving me solution like this. I'm not sure if that is the right understanding or not.
Okay, so if I understand, let me repeat what I understood. Tell me if I understood it correctly, because we're still not able to hear. But what I understood is that sometimes you are confused when you're chanting, and the solution comes while you're chanting to your problems, and you feel that is this Krishna giving the problems? I mean, giving the solution, or is it something else giving the solution? Is that your question?
Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
Okay.
Depends on solution to which problems. You know, if it is something related to chanting, then definitely, or spiritual life, definitely Krishna inspires that. If it is solution to a math problem or solution to
dealing with our groceries,
dealing with our groceries or something like that, then that is maybe we can just keep a note, but get back to hearing at that time, because we are actually in a war when we are chanting. People who are outside, they cannot understand it. They think, oh, you're just sitting and chanting, it's so easy. No, inside the mind there is a war going on where the mind is trying to distract us, and we are trying to bring it back to hearing the holy name. And it is that effort that pleases Krishna. As soon as we realize, oh, my mind is distracted, I should bring it back. That's the time when Krishna is pleased. Krishna is not necessarily pleased by just us focusing on the holy name, but how much we are struggling to bring it back, that pleases Krishna. And so it is really up to us to really understand that yes, Krishna is giving solutions. He will give so many solutions and other things. But right now, I'm developing my relationship with Krishna. And if Krishna wants, he will remind me later as well. That is our faith. And with that faith, we depend on Krishna. But if Krishna really wants me to know, and this is not a distraction, then when I go back to doing, the problem, dealing with that problem, Krishna will inspire me at that time. And we say, because otherwise the mind is also fighting back. And the way it fights back in so many different ways. First, it will fight back by saying, I don't want to concentrate. But still we force, then it'll fight back by giving us allurements. And still, if we don't, then it'll fight back to say, oh, you are chanting so nicely, so wonderfully. Boom. And we believe the mind, gone. We stop fighting because we're like, oh, yeah, I'm chanting so nicely. Mind is one. We should, at our stage, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati says, don't believe the mind. When the mind becomes a friend, whenever it becomes, that time we'll believe. Right now is not the time. Right now, our mind is our enemy. Whatever it's saying, it's wrong. We have to confront it with Guru Sadhu Shastra. And if it is giving some solutions, um, there is no need to actually write it. There is no need to distract ourselves from chanting. If Krishna wants really to give me that solution, please, Krishna, give me the solution when I'm actually doing, dealing with the problem. Right now, I'm trying to build my relationship with you. And Krishna will take care. If it was really Krishna who was giving, he will give you at that time as well. Let's have that faith and depend on Krishna in that way. He'll be more pleased and he'll resolve all of our solutions, problems in such a way that we will be focused on the holy name more and more. If we don't give up to that temptation.
Jai, Jai, so wonderful. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And one more question, Mataji and Prabhuji. The Prabhupada chanting. Prabhupada chanting, what I generally have is, it's not like regular chanting that little faster, but Prabhupada chanting is very little slow, very slow and steady. But like when I chant initially, it will be okay, and then when we go little fast, so then it is not matching with Prabhupada chanting. So that time, like I was little confused, like whether we have to hear my chanting or Prabhupada chanting or how it is.
Hear your chanting. That's the most important thing. Hear your chanting. So, some devotees, they actually feel that, chanting, see, again, it is based on devotee to devotee. Some devotees, they feel that, chanting with Srila Prabhupada, chanting with the gurus, their spiritual masters chanting, it really helps them focus to hear, so there is no question of the mind even escaping in pockets, so to speak, even some gaps, even then the mind will not escape. So some devotees think like that. Some devotees feel, well, that also for some devotees could be, some devotees feel that I can listen to Prabhupada chanting throughout the day, but during my, my chanting, I want to hear just my chanting, so like that. So there are different, concepts on this. So whatever works for you, what helps you in listening the holy name, and your listening of the holy name, your own chanting is to be heard by you. So that's the bottom line.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Both of you very wonderful, wonderful nectarian classes. Thank you so much.
Sometimes when we hear Srila Prabhupada chanting, he will say, sit properly.
Yeah.
So what we actually do is that we keep it on very low volume. And then whenever Srila Prabhupada says sit properly, it comes back, hey, are you focusing? Are you listening? It comes to the mind like that. So for us personally, it helps us when we chant with Srila Prabhupada. We chant with Srila Prabhupada one day, we chant with our spiritual masters the other days, and then we go on a cycle like that, on a repeat. So it really helps us so that even our mind doesn't get any outlet to, escape, basically. But we keep it on a very low, that chanting is not overpowering our hearing, our own hearing. So that's the most important.
Yeah, very wonderful. Thank you so much, Mataji, for this is a really useful tips. Definitely, I will follow that. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
So we have a question from Krishna Sharanam Prabhu. Significance of 108 beads. What is the significance of 108 beads? Well, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has said that the 108 beads, they signify the 108 gopis of Krishna. And the head bead is, of course, the personification of Krishna, Srimati Radharani. And when we are going from one bead to the other, we are taking Krishna. from one beat to the other. So Krishna is traversing with all the 108 gopis. And that's what the 108 beads signify, is the 108 gopis. Some devotees also say that, because it's the 108 Upanishads, 108 is a very auspicious number. But mostly Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur said it is 108 gopis. Hope that answers your question, Prabhu. Savita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji and Prabhuji, Dandavats Pranam Mataji and Prabhuji. Mataji, as you were telling, today what I caught up with is, see, we have to sit in the kutira in our own heart.
Yes.
That made a huge sense in me, because I was in the open spaces today. Today I was able to make one kutir for myself. Then I understood that I'm more with Krishna. Because you told one person will catch up with one. That is the one which really stuck me. That because whenever I have heard about Goswami stories, there they tell they were sitting in the open field and the sun used to come on them. So Radharani used to come and protect them from the sun. So the other Goswamis used to tell, you are not supposed to do like that. So now I felt like I'm more secured with your guidance, and it really made a huge difference. And one more thing I wanted to share, Mataji, only 2 days as other devotees with me are sharing, I can really see a lot of difference in the way, because every day we study Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, I'm able to connect to whatever I'm reading. Before I used to read and I used to feel, yeah, I know this also, I know this also. But at the end, if somebody asks me what you read, tell me, I don't know, I know zero. That was my status. But yesterday, when I was studying Bhagavad Gita, I was able to connect to events, whatever Prabhupada has explained in the purport. That is one wonderful thing which I could feel it, but I still need to get grounded on that. That is one thing. And I have one question for today, Mataji. Like we were discussing that our rounds we have to do with the beads and then we can do. But can we also do our chanting with counter? Is there any difference between doing chanting with counter and beads of our regular rounds?
Yes, there is a difference. You see, when we are chanting on our beads, we are, using our sense of touch. Because of our, the condition that we are in, the material conditioning that we are in, we have to utilize each and every sense of our body actively in the service of hearing the holy names, of chanting the holy names. So when we are chanting with the beads are either made up of tulasi or they are made up of neem wood. So in either of the two situations, they are very auspicious. They enhance our bhakti. So therefore, when we are touching the beads, which is tulasi or neem, they are, enhancing, spiritualizing our sense of touch. So therefore, it is enhancing our chanting. It is helping in chanting better, as opposed to, chanting on the clicker, which is, just an object, basically helping us to keep account, like a calculator, um, which we can definitely use if we have to, maybe, it's better than not chanting at all. And sometimes some devotees, they are very, very busy with their work life, family life, and everything. They're not able to adjust, timings and things like that. So yes, something is better than nothing, for sure. If you are able to, it is definitely recommended, at least try to do 1 or 2 rounds on your beads, and then if you can do the others on the counter. But that touch, the spiritual touch, is very much needed, because as Prabhu said, Vrinda Devi, Tulasi Devi is the carrier of the Lord's mercy. So the same goes with the neem beads too. They're the carriers of the Lord's mercy. So our sense of touch gets purified when we are using the beads.
Thank you, Mataji and Prabhuji. Yeah, I wanted to mention that, but I went off my thought. But the way the questions are asked, of course, today I really wish to give my gratitude to Garima and the Kuti and his parents, because the questions they ask, really, I'll tell you, you give the dimensions to it, but questions has to be asked. Such sensible questions they ask, and that really enlighten us. So that is the beauty of being in the live classes. That's what yesterday I was telling, because when I miss this live class, I feel I have missed something from my life of the day. That is what I'm going through. Excellent. I give my gratitude and Dandavats Pranam to all devotees who are present here, and Koti Koti Dandavats Pranam to Prabhuji and Mataji. Hare Krishna. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Savita Mataji. Thank you. Very well. Very well. So if there's no more questions, tomorrow and day after, we will be covering the Anartha Nivritti, which is it is one of the largest sections. And so 2 days we will be spending on Anartha Nivritti. And, we will be trying to understand in deep how we can really weed out, all the unnecessary elements that are growing along with our Bhakti Lata Beach, with our Bhakti Lata Kripa. So please join us tomorrow again. We look forward to seeing all of you. Thank you so much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः
Pati
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
Pavanebhyo
वैष्णवेभ्यो
Vaishnavebhyo
Namo Namo Namo.